Alright everyone, today I wanted to go over all the items and things that you're going to want to save up and really be prepared for when Lostvayne Meliodas comes out, and hopefully you guys pull him. You'll be able to max him out and take him to his full potential right away. So let's go ahead and get started, and the first item here, really important that I put this at the top of the list because out of everything that I'm going to talk about, this is probably the item that unfortunately if you don't really have them prepared, it's going to take the longest amount of time in order to stock up on them, and that is very importantly, your SSR pendants. Now, you don't have to go anywhere even close to overboard like I have, but you're going to want a total of 15 of these. You're going to need 3 of them in order to evolve from SSR to UR, and then you're going to need 12 of them to do your limit breaks. There's 4 limit breaks in total, going from level 60 to 80. Each one of them is going to be 5 levels, so 60 to 65, 65 to 70, 70 to 75, and 75 to 80, and each of those 4 limit breaks is going to require 3 SSR pendants. So 12 from the limit breaks, 3 from the initial evolve. That's 15 of them you're going to want in total. Alright, now let's move on to the next thing in the list here, and I'm actually going to go to an example hero, and let's go to a red unit because Lostvayne Meliodas is going to be red, and let's go to an SSR, somebody who I haven't evolved yet, because this will give you an idea of the amount of evolve materials that you're actually going to need. And let's talk about the books because we've already talked about the SSR pendants. So what you're going to need is you're going to need 1 5-star red book, you're going to need 2 4-star red books, and you're going to need 10 3-star red books, but really importantly, you can't see it right here, is you're also going to need 4 of the 6-star red books because that is what you need in order to limit break from 60 to 80. So let's see, let me just go to an example UR character that is red, and if I actually go to limit break, you'll see that each of them is going to require a 6-star book, and you are going to need 4 of them for those 4 different limit breaks, and very importantly, the boss materials as well. And what you're going to need is 50 of each of the boss materials. That'll be the total required that you need for those 4 separate limit breaks to go from level 60 to 80. So very important that you don't forget about that. My little secret, not really a secret, more of a tip for the books is red books are going to be the ones that you probably end up farming the most through your half stamina. And of course, I end up selling most of the ones that I get, but I usually keep a stack of the 5, 4, and the 3-star ones, just 99 of them in total for when I need to use them for, this sort of stuff. So if you've already been doing a lot of book farming, you guys should be set. But if you maybe just sold all of your books, didn't really realize that you need more of them in the future, just make sure that you are stocked up. And the good news is we do actually have a half stamina for book farming coming up in a few days as well. So that'll give you another opportunity to restock up on those red books. So that's that right there. Now let's move on to the next thing in the list here. Very important. Another easy one to forget about. The good news is hopefully this one won't take you that long in order to stock up a decent amount of these if you guys don't have a bunch. But that is your experience potions. Make sure that you guys have enough of these. And really importantly, you're going to need to take Lostvayne Meliodas from level 0 to 50, right, for his initial SSR. Then you're going to evolve him, and it resets him back to level 0 when you evolve. Then you're going to need to go from levels 0 to level 60, and then you're going to need to go from level 60 to 65, 65 to 70, 70 to 75, and 75 to 80 through those 4 limit breaks, and that can definitely eat up a decent chunk of your experience potions. So if you guys don't have any of these at all, you're definitely going to need to stock up a little bit. And another little tip here is if you guys have a whole bunch of the low star experience potions, not a bunch of the high star ones, it's going to eat up a lot more gold. So preferably if you want to save on gold, you want to use the high star experience potions rather than the low star ones. But it's up to you. You know, if you have a lot of experience potions and a lot of gold, it's really not a big deal. But if your primary goal is to save a bit of gold when leveling up, then you definitely want to go with the high star experience potions first. So, alright, next up here, let's go to the awakening materials. Very, very importantly here. So Lostvayne Meliodas is not going to use the demon's blood. He's going to be using the water of life, so the light version of these chalices here. If you have a bunch of the dark ones, though, you can always exchange them. It just costs a 2-to-1 ratio, which is pretty expensive, so just keep that in mind. And because he is a starting grade SSR, you're going to need 3 of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6-star Water of Life chalices in order to fully awaken him. So starting grade SSRs use 3 of them, Starting grade SRs use 2, starting grade rares only use 1, but just make sure that you guys have enough of these, especially the 6-star ones. If you don't actually have them outright, you want to make sure to have 18 additional of the 5-star ones, because you can convert 6 5-star chalices to 1 6-star chalice, because you'll need 3 of them. That is a total of 18 of them. Now, also very importantly is not just the actual chalices, the Water of Lives, but also the awakening materials. So make sure that you guys have a decent number of these. I will say the most that you're going to need out of any of the 1 ingredients is going to be 15. So as long as you guys have like 15 of each of your awakening materials already stocked up, then you should have enough in order to maximum awaken Lostvayne Meliodas as soon as he comes out. That's only going to be for the Chapter 5 and the Chapter 6. The earlier chapters don't use as many of the awakening materials. And what I would give as advice to those of you guys who have kind of transitioned from more early to late game is don't feel bad about actually buying these in the villages, especially with the discount. You can get 5 of each of the awakening materials every single day, and with the discount, they're 40% off with the village donation and the deathmatch cleared. That might end up just saving you the hassle of having to bounce around all over the map trying to hunt down specific ingredients. And typically, once you get to that point in the game, you'll be able to farm books and farm gold just as fast as it would take you in order to actually farm the materials themselves. So you don't have to feel bad about it at all. Alright, so that is everything related to Awakening, but now we have to get into something important that you absolutely want to consider, and that is gearing. Gearing for Lostvayne Meliodas. Now, some of you guys might already have some sort of gear that is already partially ready, partially complete. Maybe you've already got, a good amount of SSR gear that's got good substats on it. If you don't, though, then you're going to need to even be more prepared. However, if you do, you are still probably going to want to save up a decent chunk of the engraving stones for his UR gear. So again, you don't need to go overboard like I have, if I could even find them here, but I would say recommendation is to have between 20 to 60 of them. Now, why 20 to 60? 20 is going to be if you want to UR 2 pieces of his gear. 40 would be if you want to UR 4 of his pieces of gear. And then 60 is if you want to go absolutely all out and you are all 6 pieces of his gear. The last 2 that I would UR, though, are going to be the necklace and the defense type gear. Those 2 are generally always going to be last up on the list, but it really kind of depends how many of these you already have, and if you want to go all out or maybe just take some of his gear to UR. Now, other important things for gearing are just typical, your anvils, your hammers. You don't need to go completely overboard like I do, but just be prepared to work on gear more if you guys don't already have some sort of SSR gear set already kind of prepared, lying on somebody else in order to, put on him, right? Brown stones, of course, your blue stones for awakening if you're going to actually need to awaken that SSR gear as well. And all the stuff that I've talked about, you guys might have noticed the theme here is something that I haven't said. I wanted to actually put this towards the bottom of the list here because everything that I've talked about has involved this so far, so it's really important that you guys have at least some backlog of this, and that is gold. You're absolutely going to need gold for every step of everything that I've talked about, and the numbers that I would give you guys is 5 million or so should be a safe number for all of the, awakening, leveling, evolving, all that sort of stuff, if you are not going to work on any gear. However, gear becomes pretty expensive, so if you are going to be working on gear, then I would say 5 million is not going to be enough. You're probably going to want 10 million plus, and maybe even more depending on how much gear you're going to actually be working on for him. And if you're going to be working on multiple units when Lostvayne Meliodas comes out as well, I know there's going to be some stuff probably added to the coin shop. There might be a couple other new units that might be coming in his banner as well, that basically you're going to need to take everything that I talked about and save, more of it for those other units, and that includes gold. So 5 million is just without gear, 10 million plus with gear. If you're going to be doing a lot of this sort of stuff and working on multiple units at the same time, it could be pretty easy to burn through 15, 20 million plus gold. So just keep in mind those sort of rough benchmarks for that number. And the very last thing on the list here that I wanted to talk about / clarify from the last video here is gems. Now, obviously, you're going to need gems to pull on his banner Hopefully the global version of the game has that same benchmark that JP had, where you had a pity / milestone system where you needed 900 to get a guaranteed copy. But in the video yesterday, where I actually talk about the banner itself, I mentioned a bunch of numbers and odds in order to pull Lostvayne Meliodas, without factoring in the pity system. And that was just kind of, some fun information to share with you guys. It wasn't super incredibly important, but I want to point out that those numbers, they are, technically, if you pull on a banner, there's never a guaranteed chance that you're going to get a unit. So those numbers could never go above 100%, if that makes sense. So I know a couple people in the comments posted things like, well, these numbers here, they actually can go above 100%, but that doesn't make sense, because what you're saying at that point is that you're guaranteed to get a copy of Lostvayne Meliodas, and I was posting those numbers without the pity system. So you do have to keep that in mind, and I apologize if maybe getting into that math and those numbers was a little bit too much. I try to avoid that sort of stuff because it can get a little bit complicated, but a little bit of a clarification to end things off here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did and you want more videos like this in the future, consider subscribing to the channel. Feel free to toss a quick like as well. Really do appreciate it, everyone. Thank you so much for all the support, and more Grand Cross videos should be popping up on the screen right about now, or in the suggested videos to your right or below. Feel free to check them out. But if not, until next time, take care, everyone. Have a great day. And this is Salt of the Salty Guild, signing out.